morning, folks. Aren't you excited? You get to see me first thing in the morning. Yay! Okay, so I've got some really cool shit to share with y'all today. I'm trying to adjust my camera. Sorry. My new camera gets in this weekend, so I'm like super excited about that. Yeah, John and I were able, thanks to the amazing outpouring of support from everybody on the GoFundMe campaign, we were able to get some better web cameras. But I am really excited about potentially in the future buying some of those like really big motherfuckers, because that's gonna be fun. But I got some interesting stuff that I wanted to share with you guys today, because I was noticing some shit last night with regards to the skull fractures going on there, and I wanted to point that out to you. But I had a follow-up from my homeboy Malcolm over there in merry old London, and Malcolm cleaned up as much as he could the pictures of Ryan's right hand, and I'll put a link down below in the description to my Facebook fan page where I've uploaded a copy of this picture, because my printer's not the best, but you can see where Malcolm, you know, sort of put a red square around this this bruise on Ryan's hand. And you know, I was going through some stuff this morning. Malcolm actually forwarded me a Reddit thread where his picture from yesterday had been cited on Reddit, which is really cool. I'm loving that. And Young Girl, the Redditor Young Girl, had actually made a point of pointing out that this particular kind of bruise on the hand is called a boxer's fracture. And I gave a friend of mine who's an MMA fighter, because, you know, New Mexico. I gave a buddy of mine who's an MMA fighter a buzz this morning and asked him, you know, tell me about boxer's fractures, and he gave me the whole rundown. And then I sent him this picture, and he's like, oh yeah, that's a classic boxer's fracture. What that means is typically when it's the right hand and it makes connection with, you know, basically any part of the human body, the compression of the knuckles will cause bruising to the hand, and sometimes it can extend from, like, you know, the knuckle all the way down to the wrist, because, you know, the force of the punch. And if you look here, you'll notice that this bruise sort of, you know, like, it goes from like almost the end of his pinky about to mid-palm. That's a powerful hit. Who are you hitting, Ryan? Huh? So, yeah, I wanted to mention that. Now, somebody earlier had commented on one of my videos about how I get all my information from Reddit. I actually don't, dumbass. And if you'd have paid a fuck attention, you'd have known that. I don't get my information from Reddit. I will actually start doing my research, and, you know, I've got some people in my group that do go on Reddit. I'm not saying that I have anything against Reddit. It's just there's a lot of information. So, and I don't want to get sidetracked because there's so many good threads. So I don't get my information from Reddit, but occasionally one of my viewers will forward me a Reddit link, and the Redditor has done like amazing work, and I just have to reference it. I mean, give credit where credit's due, and if nothing else, I hope that I, you know, extend a little more attention to that Redditor and their thread. And in this case, Young Girl, thank you very much for reminding me that there is such a thing as a boxing fracture. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today was the injuries to Teresa Halbach's skull. Now, I was going through the evidence pictures last night, and here's what people need to understand, is that in order for there to be a bullet to be found in Stephen Avery's garage, it had to be a through-and-through wound. And I'm sorry, but, you know, these wounds do not make sense at all. Now, I know that somewhere in one of his statements, Brendan Dassey had stated that Stephen Avery shot Teresa Halbach Definitely once in the skull, but up to 3 times in the head. And I'm going, how do you lose count of that? You don't. That's the answer, folks. But they needed to explain the weirdness of the injuries. Because check this out. This is the piece of skull that you see the fragment of. I have it. I promise. Any minute now. Don't give up the ship. You see the fragment of the skull. I swear to God, I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. Just got too much stuff running around. Anyways, and here's the thing, folks, is look at this entrance wound. The prosecution would have you believe that this is the entrance wound. Isn't that a strange spot to shoot somebody in when they're lying on the floor? That's like, in order for that to have occurred, the person would have to be lying on the floor and the barrel would pretty much have to be straight up and down over their head. Most people are not going to shoot at this angle. They're going to shoot at this angle. Okay? Just fucking weird. But the weirdest part is, first of all, the prosecution expecting anybody to believe that a .22 would go through a human skull. That's kind of why the mafia likes .22s, is it doesn't usually go through a human skull. It'll go in and bounce the fuck around and scramble shit up. That's why the mafia likes it, is it's nice and, you know, not as messy as, say, a .45. Okay? But the prosecution would have you believe that this .22, this magical .22, was a through and through. And this is supposed to be the exit wound. I ask you folks, how the fuck? The angle is completely ridiculous, okay? What they would have you believe is that this entrance wound entered here on this side of her head. Okay, sorry. Wrong side. It's early and I've only had 1 cup of coffee. Give me a break. So they would have you believe that the entrance wound was here, pretty much straight into the skull, you see? But the exit wound is here. How does that compute? That's a fucking 90-degree angle, pretty much, on the human skull. Look at that. The fuck? How do they figure? Who the... So, apparently, the magic bullet that killed JFK has resurfaced and come into play with Teresa Halbach. The fuck is going on up there? I'm not understanding how the fuck the prosecution figures. I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to this picture on my Facebook fan page so y'all can take a good look for yourself. Malcolm's trying to clean this up a little bit, but he is such a sweetheart. I just ask him for something and like the next morning, boom, there it is. Love you, Malcolm. Mwah. I'm going to buy you a beagle, honey. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and put the link for that down below in the description, along with the link for the GoFundMe campaign for Clue TV, and also the link for ClueTV.net. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.